Hi, I'm Slowwalk and this video is writing a song from a concept. As that incredibly well acted and extremely dramatic reconstruction showed, sometimes when you sit down to write a song, starting with absolutely nothing, you just go blank. And that doesn't matter whether you've written 1,000 songs or you've never written a song before. I think quite often that puts people off and they just think, I can't do this, I'm not capable of it. And that's not true at all. I think anyone who's ever written a song has that moment of doubt and you just have to push through it. Now, the reason it is difficult and quite often you find yourself in that situation is because writing a song from nothing is incredibly difficult. It can be literally about anything and the possibilities are infinite. So it's much better to narrow the possibilities before you even start. And also, not only can the song itself be about anything, but you can write it starting from so many different places. You can start with a chord progression, a melody, or a lyric, or a title, or you can start with a drum beat, a bass part, a guitar part, a synthesizer, pretty much anything. I could start hitting myself on the head and make a beat out of that and build on it, and it will probably turn out to be one of my better songs. I'm not going to do that today. Instead, today we're going to write a song from a concept. The good thing about starting with a concept and a story, an idea of what the song's going to be about, not only can you use that to help you define what the lyrics are going to be and the melody and the chords and the rhythm and the tempo, but also what the actual instruments you use are going to be, what the musical palette is, because that's also an important part of a song and how you tell that story. And I like to think of songs as mini movies. So the lyric is really the script and the music is the score and the singer is really the lead actor or main character. So if you think of a film composer and when he makes a score for a film, not only is he trying to evoke the emotion of the characters in the story, but he's also trying to evoke the time period, the setting of the film, obviously the mood and the feeling, and he can use so many different things, including the musical palette, to help him convey those things. And he can also use genres of music, different styles. I think you can use that same logic for a song. Just because the song might be performed by the same artist doesn't mean that every song has to sound the same. And the song itself can have its own unique personality, I think, without losing the personality of the performer. So you can still maintain your own style while giving the song its own personality. And the other interesting thing is, once you've got that concept, you can still decide which tone you want to tell that story in. So I'm going to give you a couple of examples of concepts. One would be going on a first date, maybe with someone you've never met before. Maybe it's a blind date, a Tinder thing, or maybe it's with someone that you've known for a long time, a friend. The blind date concept, it could be an incredibly romantic song where actually the person finds true love, or maybe it's a very awkward situation like a lot of dates are, and maybe something funny happens and it's more of a comedy song. The second concept would be going to a different country, maybe where you don't speak the same language, and trying to fit in. And again, you know, that could be a humorous story or it could be a dramatic take on it. There's many different ways you could take that. And the third concept, which we're going to write a song around today, is basically waking up after an incredibly heavy night of drinking and being hungover and maybe a bit remorseful and very fuzzy and trying to remember what happened the night before. I think I'm obviously going to take it in more of a comedic angle, but again, with that concept, it could be darker or maybe sadder in a way. Maybe there was someone there, it was an unrequited love story. There's many different takes on it, but I think today we're going to try a more comedic angle. So if you want to try and write a song with any of those concepts or your own concept and feel like sharing it afterwards, I'd love to hear it. So if you'd like to put it in the comments under this video, that'd be amazing. So we're now going to write that hungover song. I know my tone, I know my concept, and let's see what happens. I'm going to start today writing the song with a lyric. Now, I don't always do this, but I think when you start with a concept and an idea of the story, it's quite good to actually get the lyrics down first, then you can start working that music and those instruments around the actual lyric to help tell the story. So I'm going to start off, I think, obviously with him waking up in his bedroom. So he wakes up and the whole room is spinning around him. His first thought is going to be, am I dead or is this living? Can't lift my head, can't move my head, yet the room is spinning. I don't recall last night at all, or how I missed a bed and landed on the floor. Should I feel shame or jubilation? Did I find love or humiliation? Perhaps I missed my greatest show. So then he starts to recall the start of the night, and he remembers going into the pub, all of his friends cheering. It's a bit like a boxer entering a ring, only he thinks he got knocked out in the second round, and he doesn't really remember much after that. So it's good when you write like this. I can already imagine the music at the start being different than the music when he's telling the story of the night, because I imagine the music at the start is more sort of hazy, dreamy, maybe psychedelic in a way, whereas the music of the night is maybe a bit more faster, energetic, and it means that you can already get an idea of how you're going to write the music, and that's just around the actual words. So I've got a lyric, now we're going to start putting the song together. Maybe the lyric will change as I write the music, but got a rough idea of where it's going to go, and let's see what happens next. I'm going to start making the song now. I think I'm going to start by trying to make an alarm sound to start off the song, so our character's waking up. So I think I'm going to start with maybe a Rhodes. Right, now that I've made a sort of Rhodes alarm sound which kind of fades up, I'm going to add a kind of quite delayed, slightly dreamy kind of drum beat, something quite echoey, again to kind of capture that feeling of being incredibly hungover and slightly lucid. So I think I'm going to make a bass part that's a bit bouncy. I want it to feel kind of dreamy but also slightly light-hearted. I don't want it to feel too serious and depressing. Now we're going to do a bit of an organ kind of swirl thing. I want this to be the kind of like spinning motion and sensation, because obviously he's waking up and the room is spinning. So I've got a kind of rotating sound, I've got my alarm sound, I've got a bit of a lazy drum beat, and I've got a bass that's bouncing around. So I'm going to put a synth in now, I think. So now I'm going to move on to the chorus, where the character is really starting to worry about exactly what happened the previous night. And musically I'm going to start by putting on a bass, then I'm going to continue the synth from the previous section. I'm going to continue the same drum beat and the same instrumentation. Okay, so now I'm going to go back to the verse, but really just for a short kind of musical interlude that will act as a bit of a bridge before we go to the next section. And now that section is done, we're going to move on to the part of the song where the character is recalling the events from the previous night, at least the events that he can remember. And so he's telling the story of how the night started, and so I really want the music to sound quite different here. So I'm going to have a much faster drum beat. I'm going to put down a bass line. For the end of the song, after that section where it goes back to the verse, I'm going to have the same instrumentation from the first verse and chorus. As you probably heard, I've been getting vocal melodies coming to my head as I've been going along and making these sections. And so now I'm probably just going to go through and work out all the melodies, and because I've got the lyrics, it makes it a bit easier. And then I'll probably put down a guide vocal, and then that'll be easier to layer music on top. Now I'm going to record a guide vocal because that'll really help adding more music to the song.
Am I dead, or is this living? And I hope I wasn't dancing, you know, the kind of dancing where it looks like you are having an allergic reaction to the beat.
Now I'm going to put down some backing vocals.
Should I feel shame or jubilation? So let's go back to where it all began.
In several parts I've sang the main part low and then high as well, just to give it more kind of body. I'm going to put some backing vocals over the first sort of chorusy bit and go, oh no. Hopefully it makes it a little bit funny when he's trying to recollect what happened and he's worrying that maybe he did something embarrassing. So again, it's just another example of how you can use every layer really to help tell that story.
Oh no, oh no, oh no, oh no.
It's a kind of tongue-in-cheek sort of oh no, almost like the alarm that goes off in your head. So I've got this slight chorus of oh no's in the background. Now I've got an entire structure down and a guide vocal all the way through. I'm gonna go through each section and add some instruments, maybe add some more backing vocals, and maybe replace some vocals. Okay, so now I'm going to add another synth to the beginning, again to make it feel more dreamy. So it's a pad, but it's got a bit of a Rhodes feel about it, because I always think Rhodes is quite jazzy. There's something sort of nocturnal, I think, about the sound of a Rhodes, or certainly what we associate it with. What I'm missing actually is something that really reflects like when you wake up and suddenly your head really starts to pound. I'm going to find something that builds up. I've got a good plugin called the Riser. I think to add on top of that, I'm going to do something percussive as well, a pounding. Put that sort of drum riser in there again, just to help build up his headache. I want to add something here just when it comes into this other chorus section. This bit I want to be a little bit more synthy, maybe a little bit dancey.
Should I feel shame or jubilation?
I think I need a melody or a sound that just makes it a little bit more light-hearted. Now I'm going to try a bit of trombone.
Should I feel shame?
Okay, I'm going to stick a little vocal part in now, just as a bridge.
If only I could remember.
I feel like I want a little guitar solo in now, just to bridge that gap again. So I put a little kind of solo riff in that interjoining section. It's got a bit of wah on it, it's got a bit of delay, it's slightly psychedelic. It's also going to help because in the next section I'm going to introduce guitars, so I'll link it nicer, and that'll just take us into the next section. Now I'm going to put down some electric guitars. I'll probably have a couple of rhythm guitars.
Let's go back to where it all began.
I'm now going to put down a riff because I really want the song to sound a bit like a kind of indie pop song that you could hear on the radio or the jukebox as he walks into the pub.
Let's go back to where it all began.
Okay, so this is the section where he's out on the town. I've already got some guitars in. Let's see, I might put something else in here. I think it needs to be fuller.
Let's go back to where it all began.
So I've added another guitar there. I think I'm also going to continue that guitar over the next section.
And here I lay, don't wanna check my phone.
I think over this section where he's really worried about whether they went dancing and he made even more of a fool out of himself, I'm going to put some synthesizers because I want it to sound a little bit dancey. It's still going to be an extension of the kind of guitar song, but I want it to feel kind of like a little bit clubby as well at the same time. Let's try a bit of hybrid, and then we're quite good for dancey sort of synths. Okay, so we've got one dancey synth. I think I need one other, like Peggio or something. So I put a couple of sort of dancey synths in there, and I've dropped the guitars out just for a section, just to make them kind of kick through a bit more. Now, when he mentions his friends are laughing, I'm going to try a little plug-in called the Owls Choir. So I did some laughter, just did a little fall for the tears bit. Now I'm going to record some of the vocals again. I think I might do another one over the top.
Here I lay, don't wanna check my phone, so let's go back to where it all began.
Okay, I'm going to put the oh no's at the end as well, because I quite like them. I think I might put that little solo riff in the very end. I'm going to stick another backing vocal here, I think, over this last chorus, to give it a bit more welly.
Why'd I always do it?
So I just tightened up some of the backing vocals. Then I'm going to end the song just with the alarm, and I'm just going to basically fade it out. So it's sort of circular from the beginning. So it's kind of like he's passed out again and the alarm's still going, is the idea. So I'm just going to do a simple mix on this.
Am I dead? Or is this living?
So I've done a mix of the song, and you can hear the full video on the YouTube channel, and you can download the song on Patreon. There'll be new material each week on Patreon, and like I said before, if you want to have a go doing either a song around this concept or one of the other concepts I mentioned earlier, I'd love it if you'd share them and post them below this video on the YouTube page, and have fun doing it. I hope you've enjoyed this video. I certainly had fun making a song, and there'll be another one of these videos soon.